I'm in Shenandoah National Park, or right at the edge of it. I'm on the eastern side of the mountains at a low elevation right now, about 1,100 feet. And I'm going to be hiking up Broad Hollow Trail. And this is a little parking area here. This is just a dirt road basically coming up here. And just before you get to the Weakley Farm there's this little turnoff here. And so I'm going to park here. I'm not quite sure where the trailhead is just yet, but if you look right there, you see the white sign on there says U.S. Boundary National Park Service. That's the edge of the Shenandoah National Park. So I'm going to go up here just a little ways and see if I can find the trailhead. Here's the Weakley Farm, and just to the right here I see there's a big tree there with some red blazing on it, and a smaller one just to the right with some blue blazing. So I think this is the old trail here, so we're going to head on down this way. I got myself across the creek. It's called Broad Hollow Run, and there's the trail. We're going to be heading straight up the side of the mountain for the next 2.5 miles. But here's a look at Broad Hollow Run. And back over there on the other side is the Weakley Farm. But for now, we're going to head up the side of the mountain on this trail. I'm up to 1,300 feet elevation now. There's where I came from. And here's Broad Hollow Run. And this is the second time you have to cross it. Looks like it'll be an easy crossing though. And this trail's blazed blue, so just keep your eye open for the blue blazing. I'm up to 1,380 feet elevation, and here's the next place that the trail crosses Broad Hollow Run. It's got a nice flow. Here, take a look around. There's Broad Hollow Run running down the side of the mountain. There's the trail where I came from. Big hill up here. So we're going to continue on up the side of the mountain. We're going to cross the run right here. I'm up to 480 feet elevation now, and this trail is taking a turn to the right away from Broad Hollow Run now. So from here up to the top, I think it's been fairly steep so far, but it's gonna get even steeper. That looks like it's going pretty much straight up the side of the mountain. But hey, that's why we're out here. So here we go, up to the top. I'm up 1,530 feet elevation, and look what I found. Just on the left side of the trail, I noticed this stone fence. Right here. The trail's right over there to the straight ahead. So here's the stone fence that I noticed, and up there's the stone remains of an old homestead. So let's go up there and check that out. Okay, so here's what's left of the old homestead. That's the, let's call it the eastern wall there. I don't see any evidence of a fireplace though. They could have had a pot-bellied stove or something. It's a small little place. It probably isn't more than, I don't know, 25 feet one way and 20 feet the other. Could have even been a one-room house. And over here is the trail, which was probably just an old wagon road that would have provided access up here. There's the fence. There's the homestead, and then right down there, down the hill just a little ways, is Broad Hollow Run, so they could have gotten their water from there. I'll mark this spot with my GPS. Here's another view of the old homestead, and right over here, down there is Broad Hollow Run, and there's plenty of water in there. So the people that lived here could have got their water out of there. And this whole area here, which I guess I'll call the front yard, is a nice, for being in the mountains, it's a nice, relatively flat area. It's got a lot of nice trees. You're right next to the water. This would be a nice place for an overnight backcountry camping ordeal. And back to the homestead. I'm sitting on a log taking a rest. It's pretty steep through here. I'm up to 1,780 feet elevation. There's the trail heading up the side of the mountain. And if you look over there, that's the opposite side of the canyon. So the canyon's getting narrow now, which tells me I'm getting closer to the top. Here's a look back towards the way I came. There's the trail coming up the side of the mountain. Woo! First hike of the year, and I'm feeling it too, folks. I think we got to get up to about 2,200 feet or so. I'll check the map and give you an update on that next time I turn this on. I'm up to 1,820 feet elevation, and here's a little spring. So I'm not sure why this is here. There might have been some other homesteads up this way, and this spring could have provided water for them. I don't think this is Broad Hollow. This is just a feeder little feeder stream heading down the side of the mountain that drains into Broad Hollow Run. So for now, I'm going to jump over that and keep heading up this steep trail. Okay, I answered my own question about why that spring is there. Look at this. Another old homestead. It's about 100 yards up the hill from that spring. Spring's right down there. Let's come in here and take a look. Some old enamel pots that are rusting away. Let's go in here. Here's the inside of it. It's a typical log cabin. Not much left of it. But this is kind of in an out of the way place, but because it's near that little feeder stream, that spring, they were assured a decent supply of water. So for now, I'll mark this with my GPS. But for now, we're going to continue on up that way, up the side of the mountain. About an hour and a half into my hike now, and I'm up to 2,110 feet elevation. There's the opposite side of the canyon over there, and way down there is where I came from. This section's pretty steep, and I looked on the map and I got to get up to about 2,600 feet. So I got another 500 vertical feet to climb over the next, oh, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile. So I'm going to rest here for a second and then keep on trucking. I'm up to 2220 elevation, and here's another old homestead. Here's the corner of the foundation, and those metal pieces laying there are pieces of a broken up old wood burning stove, or maybe coal burner. Let's just call it a potbelly stove. So that was probably their source of heat. This is getting pretty high up here, and I don't really see a lot of water, but when it rains, these little rivulets, maybe they collected water there, or maybe they had a well drilled. I'm not sure how they got their water up this high. But anyway, here's another old homestead. I'll mark this one with my GPS too. Mountain laurel. This will be real pretty once it starts to bloom a little later in the spring. Okay, I'm about 2 hours into my hike now. I'm up to 2,520 feet elevation, and that signpost there says I'm at the intersection with Sam's Ridge Trail, and we are going to head to the left. Okay, I hiked Sam's Ridge Trail about 2/10 of a mile to here. There's where I came from, Sam Ridge Trail. And now we are at the intersection with the Hazel Mountain Trail, which is really an old fire road. We're gonna take a left and head up this way until we peak out at about 2,600 feet, and then from there we'll just continue on this old fire road, which they now call Hazel Mountain Trail, all the way down the side of the mountain. Here's what the road looks like going that way. We're going to head up this way. Once I get up to the top, I'm going to find a place to sit down and eat a little bit of lunch and drink some water. Well, about 2.5 hours into my hike now. The elevation here is 2570, and this is the high point of the hike. There's a little clearing right there, so I'm going to take off my pack and eat some lunch. And after that, I'm going to start my way down the side of the mountain. It's a long ways back to my car, maybe, 3.5, 4 miles maybe, down that way. That's where I'm going to eat lunch at this little clearing. And back that way is the way I came. And here's what it looks like. There's the absolute summit over that way through the brush. And this this trail follows this ridge line down the side of the mountain. So the weather's starting to worry me a little bit. If you look over there, the sky's getting gray and the wind has been picking up. I sure hope it doesn't rain, but it might. So for now, I'm going to turn this off and get a little bit of lunch and get some water. Well, there's today's exciting cuisine. I just inhaled that. That was bumblebee tuna salad with crackers. Comes in a little box. You open it up and there's a can with the tuna salad in it. You pop the can open and they give you a little plastic spoon to scoop out the tuna salad. And over there on the right's what's left of a package that had 6 crackers in it. Not much of a meal, but there it is. And then for dessert, I'm going to eat this Nature Valley dark chocolate and cherry trail mix bar. Those things are tasty. And for lunch, for something to drink, I'm drinking water. So I'm behaving myself as far as diet, but when I get back to Warrenton, I may stop at the Carousel ice cream joint and well, you'll see what happens when I get there. I'm still sitting here on this rock up at the top of the mountain resting. Excuse me. To clear my throat out. I'm hiking alone today, as usual. My friends and family tell me I shouldn't hike alone. They tell me it's dangerous. Of course, they haven't done much hiking themselves, but still, they tell me what I shouldn't be doing. But really, I'm not alone. I've got Smith and Wesson. to help me out, just in case. You never know what's going to happen around here. Well, I'm done eating lunch and I'm starting to descend the mountain along this ridgeline on Hazel Mountain Trail here. I turned on my Bear Bell for this section of the hike because you got mountain laurel real thick on both sides of the trail, and so you're kind of in a tunnel here. It's hard to get off the trail any significant distance, and if you run into a bear on these trails, it turns into a who's going to back down thing. Either you're going to back down or the bear's going to back down. So it's a good idea when you're hiking alone like I am today to have a Bear Bell. Mine has a magnet on it so I can silence it when I don't feel like I need it. But I'm going to leave it on for a while here because, you know, if you're on a wide open trail and you see a bear, you can, if they don't move out of the way, you can sort of mosey off the trail real nonchalant like until they pass by. But when you're in a tunnel with a lot of thick growth on both sides, it gets a little harder to get away from them in a nonchalant manner. So this is what the trail looks like. This is pretty easy hiking. Probably making you dizzy with the camera, but it's easy hiking and it's a downhill slope. And I think it's about 3.5, maybe 4 miles back to my car. Hopefully there'll be some views along the way. I read somewhere that when you get down here a little ways, you should be able to see Old Rag Mountain off to the right. So if I get to that point, I will stop and take some pictures. Here's the intersection with Catlet Mountain Trail. Here's where I came from. I came from up that way. There's Catlet Mountain Trail, and we're going to keep going this way. Actually, this next 8/10 of a mile, the next 8/10 of a mile section here, I've hiked this before doing other hikes. So this one short section here is the only section that I've hiked before. Everything else is a new hike for me. The elevation here is 2520. Still hiking along the old trail here. The elevation here is 2550, and I stopped here because I think I mentioned in the last video clip that I had hiked this section of the trail before. Right over there is a spot that I had marked as a potential campsite. I'll take you back in there. You can take a look around. There's no water up here, but you can see it's been cleared out. So people have been camping up here. And I don't see any evidence of fires, which are illegal in Shenandoah Park, so that's a good thing. But see how cleared out it is? So it's a nice area. If you have a tent, there's a lot of pine needles here, which would soften things up a little bit. There's the trail back over there. And so this is a nice little area right here. There's plenty of trees here if you want to hang a hammock. Nice little area. The only problem is no water. You'd have to carry your water up here. Here's the intersection with the Hot Short Trail. The elevation here is 2520. Somebody put that boulder in the middle of the trail here so you wouldn't miss it. Here's the trail. We're going to continue straight on this way. And as you can, there's no signpost here. The signpost, for some really odd reason, is way over there. So if you're not careful, you can walk right past that turnoff. So there's Hot Short Trail. Here's where I came from, down this way. Hot Short Trail's that way. There's your marker. And we're going to continue on this trail this way. Here's a map of the hike. The quadrant name is Old Rag, 1994. And the parking area where I parked, it's just a little two-car spot. You can barely get off the road right here at the end of Route 681. Well, not at the end, but there's a sharp bend in the road here by the Weakley family farm. So you park your car here, and you cross over Broad Hollow Run, and then you follow Broad Hollow Trail up the side of the mountain here, this way, all the way up to the top, and make a few left turns along the way here, and right about here is where I stopped for lunch. That's the high point of the hike, about 2,600 feet elevation. And now I'm starting to work my way down the mountain, and I'm down to right here where I circled it. This is the this little dash line here is the Hot Short Trail coming off. That's that trail right there. And so we're right here, and we're going to continue on down to follow this. The name changes now. It's called Pine Hill Gap Trail. And we're going to follow this all the way down the side of the mountain to the park boundary, and then follow a little dirt road back up this way to where I parked my car. And a couple other things on the map. If you're using a GPS, you need to set your datum reference to NAD 27. That's North American datum 1927. And this, I drew this on here. This shows me that there's a this is a grid north, this is magnetic north. So your compass has a western declination of 12 degrees here, which is quite a bit. And all the little squiggly lines on the map, those are elevation contours, and each contour represents 40 feet. And then these circled numbers here are in thousands of meters, the UTM grid coordinate system, which is a metric system. And so I write these grid coordinates on here. These vertical and horizontal lines are UTM grid coordinates. So you can get the UTM coordinates off your GPS and then find them on the map and figure out where you are. So that's the map of the hike. Here's another small little camp spot. I'm not going to bother recording the coordinates and stuff. I need to get out of here. It's 1.7 more miles to the park boundary. It's probably 2 miles to my car. And the weather is definitely taking a turn for the worse. I might get rain on me before it's over with, so I got to get moving this way. Over there a couple miles is the, in the background is the silhouette of Old Rag Mountain. That's a nice climb over there. That's a pretty strenuous climb though. That mountain peaks out a little over 3,000 feet, maybe 3,200 or so. Old Rag Mountain. Okay, I've hiked down this fire road to the park boundary. The elevation here is 1310. There's the boundary sign right there with the red blaze under it. There's the fire road that I just hiked down. It's been quite a lengthy hike down the side of the mountain here. And from here I need to hike down another few tenths of a mile until I get to a dirt road, and then take a left and hike a few more tenths of a mile to get back to my car. Okay, here's where the fire road basically ends. It runs into another road here. That's the this will probably be the last of the Shenandoah National Park signs, and it says that Route 681, where I parked my car, is 3/10 of a mile. So we're gonna follow the road on down that way. Wow, that's a pretty wide road from here. So here we go, down the road. Okay, there's the beginning of the Pine Hill Gap Trail. It's actually 3/10 of a mile up that road along private property to get to the park boundary and the trailhead entrance, actually. This is the end of Route 681. That's a private drive there. And there's 681. It's part of it's paved, part of it's gravel, and part of it's dirt. So I think I got about another 3/10 of a mile this way to get back to my car. So here we go.